Let's give it up for our first speaker, Abdul. Round of applause, please.
Thanks, guys. Thank you everyone for coming up and taking your Saturday morning to come and attend this. And I'm really feeling privileged to stand in front of such a passionate audience. I'm a fresh speaker. I'm not just here. I'm not used to speaking. I'm more comfortable speaking to a smaller group. I'm comfortable speaking in one-on-one conversations. The reason why I'm speaking, I'm just getting into speaking now, is that I had this little small meetups that we hosted in my company, which is Econex. And people who came over there, they saw some value in it and they said, can you share it a little bit for me? So I'm trying it out, and this is another validation for me. And you guys should actually give me the feedback that it is more. Like, should I shut up or should I continue speaking? Is the feedback what you're going to give, and I'm going to really respect it. So, a little bit of history about this topic. This occurred to me, this very thought occurred to me. I don't know when it really occurred, but it started getting some form when I was actually presenting at another conference, and that time it just struck me. And this is the very first words I put to that, to give words and put it in words to that thought. This is what came to me. This is a very heading, right? So I'm not quite convinced that this should be the heading, but since it is published, I just thought I'll keep it as such, and with your permission, I'll bring the content in the video and see that is my heading. There are elements of it, but this heading could be better is my heading. So before we get into that, I mean, there's a bit of controversy there, right? So I'm not fixing the topic better there, and then I'm explaining why the topic. There's a bit of trouble there, but leave it with me, I'll explain that. Why the topic, right? So for the next couple of statements which I'm going to put over here, please say you agree with it or does not agree with it. So if you don't agree with it, please raise your hands. Okay? So business wants to scale IT. It's a very basic statement I'm making here. Anyone who doesn't agree with this, I don't expect it to be. So business wants IT to go agile. Not necessarily, but most of us here would have that view. Yeah? But there is no adequate support for agile practices. Do you guys face this problem? Right? So is that a common problem? Yeah? So there's enough? Right. So I pick the content why I'll tell you. And do you all guys believe in agile? So that's a useless question, but I just put it there for the conversation point. Yes. You are here because you believe this. Right. So our mission in this topic, in this session, is going to be more of how do you build a compelling business case to sell to get the business's support for agile practices, in which I'm going to show you why. So since business cares for scale, to achieve scale, you need some of the practices that is already there in agile to be supported very well, and there are some patterns of architecture which you can replicate as well. So that's going to be our mission today. So why architecture specifically? Architecture has already solved the scale, and we are all in software. Architecture is closer. Architecture is closer to us. We know what software architectures are. We can relate well to this topic. One more reason is that when I started giving thought to this and observing, I've been doing agile for the past 11 plus years. For agile, I've been doing for the past 11 plus years. And over the period of time, I started noticing patterns about how architecture scales and how agile scales. Right? So I saw some striking similarities between them, and they started forming shape, and that's why I'm going to present it out here. So, why should I listen to you? Valid question, you should think of it. I'm on a menu, right? I've been through all the pains and pleasures you guys share. I don't know what your backgrounds are. I've been in services industry, I've been in consulting, and finally now I'm at a product company. So I understand all these different sectors of industry, their realities, their pains and pleasures. I share with you. I hope you. How many are from product development? I'm sorry, very large. Anyone from consulting? Yeah, a few from consulting. Anyone from services? I share all your pains. So I've been on companies of all sorts. The next reason, when I said that this is about building agile teams, right from the very beginning, as I don't know, it's luck or coincidence, I built teams. Even for all these various companies which I've joined as one of the seed members. You can just say, even second or third year of my experience into IT, I started with the first member or second member of the team, and then I built into 30s and 40s. So not big scale, but something that's adequate enough for an agile team. Right? So now my current team is also around 40 members. I started building it 3 years back, and now we are at 40. Strength of 40. So let's start. Before this, okay. I should stop and ask the beginner's problem here. So are we on board with what I'm going to propose, or what I proposed here? And is that going to be a valid topic, or is there anything else what you would like to see? And I mean, I have a decent level of experience across various functional roles, including development to QA to product management. So if you want, if you want to interrupt and ask questions in any moment of time, okay, so please feel free to do that.
Can you use the mic?
Okay, sorry. That's an inexperience of being a speaker. Kindly excuse me. Okay. So we'll start with it. Yes, please.
You were saying that you were building the team.
Yes.
What does it mean to you actually?
Okay, simplistically put, when I started with just one member, then we are now 40 members, right? So it includes everything from recruitment, it includes how to onboard people. Some people come with experience, some people come without agile experience. How do you scale? How do you actually build those skills in people? When you get people, sometimes you're lucky to get people who have the right skills, but it's very hard to find, or as all of us know, right? So then how do you actually build those things? So some of the things what I'm going to talk here is just a different perspective on agile practices. And there are elements of it where you could copy from architecture that is somewhat sticking to the very content or very tightly, which is replicating agile architectural patterns in agile. But part of it should be a good understanding of what agile practices are from a different perspective. I'm going to look at it from the perspective of scale. So what is scaling? We should actually start with the definition of scaling, because I'm going to compare between architecture and teams, so we should have a clear understanding of what is scale. So scale is the ability of a system to respond to user load. That is to maintain the behaviors, to load actually. Maintain the behaviors and experience of a system consistent irrespective of load. You guys agree with that statement? Okay. So architecture, it means user load, and in teams that means more feature requests. When business want to scale, okay, essentially that translates for teams into I have to deliver more features. Okay. So that is the. Now getting into it. So what are my observations? Systems that scale, no matter this architecture, no matter it is living organisms. If you want to relate to super organisms like ant colonies or beehives, if you can get, or be it human beings, they all follow some of the common traits. Any systems that scale has to follow some of these properties. Okay. So how many guys understand and appreciate architecture, some sort of development background here? Right. So for others also, are you able to associate with these terms? I have kept it a little high level and abstract for everybody to connect to. Are you able to connect with these terms from a generic sense? We'll see each of them in detail shortly. But shall I move on? Yeah? Good. So I'll show you now a few parallels from the architecture, and I'm trying to map them to the agile practices. Right? So first is distribution. So distribution is a reality as of now. Right? When you look at systems and architectures, we started with the mobile phones, and then there are smart devices, smart watches, Internet of Things. And if you look at the proliferation of different network architectures and architectural components that is getting added from an architectural point of view, the components that is getting added to the system is ever widening, and it is causing distribution. Distribution is a reality that we have to live with. And if you know Moore's law about computing and the process growth and all, the network traffic is actually much faster than the processor capability. It is growing only at 66% that of the processors. Right? So that means if a processor speed doubles in 18 months, 18 months, and the network traffic doubles in roughly about 12 months, which simply means the processor cannot keep up. Right? So the scaling is happening much before that. Why is the network traffic generated? More and more devices and more demand from network devices is coming up, which means the processor cannot simply keep up. So distribution is going to continue as a reality. Okay? There is another reason, that is the cost. The cost of small and redundant array of small machines is going to be much more cost effective than a specialized.
Could you keep it a little bit closer?
Is it?
Yeah.
Is this better now? I'm sorry guys.
So you could be even better.
More.
I think so.
I don't want people to hear my nervous breathing. That's right. Okay, but thanks for the feedback. Right. So what does that mean for teams? Right? Let's look at that. So fast-paced business is a reality, and that's why we are all here. We are agile teams. We have to respond to business as fast as possible. Right? And scaling and distribution. Why is that a requirement? You cannot find enough talented people in one talent pool. So you have to go for distribution. In one country, one market, you will try out the talent pool what you're looking for. Soon enough, one location. So you have to scale out in geographical locations. When I say that, I was also an element of quality. It's just not about numbers. It's also about the kind of skills you want to hire and keep in your organization. That's going to be hard. The next reason why distribution is, so if you remember, scaling is about more throughput. If you can leverage the time zone, that if you are adequately spread across and if you have a follow the sun setup for your development teams, you are able to respond to the business requests in a faster pace, right? So distribution for teams is a reality that's going to continue. Right? And next one is cost. Some of the locations like India and Philippines and more East Asian countries, some of the South American countries, everything, if you look at it, they're all going to give cheaper and alternatives to on-site development compared to Western countries. But I would want, and that is not the reason any company should go for distribution. The cost of owning up and execution is going to actually outweigh the marginal cost you are going to get if you are really building a true agile team. But that is one of the reasons it is very hard to not being lured by that temptation. And it happens, but I want to please don't do that if your company is doing for that reason. So one of the advantages of distribution, I just want to check. Redundancy. Right? So what is redundancy? Faster response time. So what is the advantages for redundancy? If it's distributed, that means there are multiple parallel nodes out there. And for us, in teams, there are multiple parallel teams that are working across different geographies distributed. Right? So that is what is redundancy. Distribution causes redundancy. So it gives faster response times because different parts of the system can serve different requests and get to that. And the second benefit what we get is fault tolerance. What does that mean for teams, right? More delivery throughput. If you have more distribution, more redundancy, that means you get more delivery throughput, and that is exactly what is scale for a team. Okay? And the next benefit of fault tolerance, which I will associate to business continuity. A part of your team somewhere is down, you still another team can keep operating. That is business continuity. You may have come across this in the business continuity plan. Move on to the next slide, and this is a little note of explanation about the redundancy. So let's look at some examples. How many of you understand these web clusters? We all have heard about web clusters and the clustered environment, how that scales and responds faster, right? And recently it will be Hadoop or Cassandra or any kind of distributed systems that use data and process redundancies. That gives you both scale and if you don't understand, please ask me, but otherwise I'm going to skip. So what do you do in teams? So one thing here to understand, before I get into the details of explaining what skill redundancies here means, here I'm not doing a one-to-one comparison, but here what is more important is what practices you should follow to build the redundancy. There I am actually showing systems that have implemented redundancy. If I were to do a one-to-one comparison, I'd say follow Agile. That doesn't mean anything. So I'm making a conscious choice of not doing a one-to-one mapping of what to be implemented, but rather what I'm saying here is what processes you have to follow and how you will get. So distribution in the system is slightly different to distribution in teams. If systems are collocated enough within the same data center, it is not that much of distribution. You wouldn't consider that as much of distribution. The problem there is network latency. Right? And if you are closely enough located, you don't consider that as distribution. distribution of some sort, but that's not any significant distribution. That's not what you normally call a distribution. Or I'll probably not go that far. I'll rather say that distribution is a problem that we can deal with easily. However, the moment you are in a team, individuals and their boundaries are their brains, right? And each individual causes a boundary. And transition of knowledge between one to another is much slower process than state replication across two machines. One happens in sub-seconds, the other one happens in matter of months and years and stuff like that. So that is why things like continual, so Agile is all about incremental and continual, right? So that is why you have to see pairing and pair rotation. They are not just review process or quality assurance processes, they are also a scaling process, right? So if you have to do this knowledge transition and replication, you have to follow pairing and pair rotation. I'm not saying this is examples, there are other ways of doing it as well. Okay? So this is possibly a state replication, and here what I'm showing is the pairing, local builds and CI builds, unit tests, integration tests, system contact tests, and functional tests, various other kind of tests what we have in your test pyramid. They're all redundancies, and we have processes. Pairing, when you're pairing, you're just going to look at, oh, okay, that test is not good, right? This does not cover the situation what I want to cover. That's one level of redundancy in the process flow. The second level is local builds, and that could be multiple. You're running your unit tests on your ID, it could be another level. Then you're running your pre-time checking. You guys relate with these things well, right? Great. So local builds and CI builds and multiple levels of CI builds, they're all causing process redundancies. And if you really want to scale, you have to follow this, so you cannot compromise on these things. So another one is pairing standard, retros, demos. All team activities are feedback loops of different kinds, and you have to follow that if you want to scale. Then I get the components of distribution, right? Shall we take a look? Okay. Are you guys with me so far? Right? So, now what I've seen is the positive aspects and the positive behaviors that we can replicate and we need to follow. Either rather than replicate, they are already there. We just need to be more convinced. And I'll help you how to sell this to the business as my problems of distribution. We'll next get into the problems of distribution, which is data consistency across network nodes, right? So what does that mean? For the less technically lenient people, I'll just explain that there's one node here, one node here, one node here, with all separated out. Somebody is writing a piece of data into one of these nodes, and somebody else is reading. So they are all supposed to serve the same request. So now somebody is writing to one piece of data to one of these nodes, and someone else is reading from another node which is far separated. Okay? So you have to get that data transferred over to the other node, and if you are reading before that, you are going to get a stale copy of the data. So that is the consistency problem. So if you cause distribution, maintaining consistency is going to be one of your problems, right? So what does that mean for the teams, right? Alignment. So you should not try to align teams on their culture. You have to keep them independent. You have to give them autonomy. So that's one of the things I was mentioning in the slide. We'll come to that. So alignment on culture and practices. So how do we achieve this? Alignment or then consistency is not something that you can totally ignore. So it's a trade-off, right? If you guys can relate to anyone from the cloud background or you're aware of the CAP theorem, that is actually talking about the consistency, availability, and network tolerance. It's exactly, we touched on the points, but I did not want that technical component to come in. But if you're from a technical background, you can connect all the things what I talked about the CAP theorem. So consistency on contracts, autonomy in implementation. So how to implement this one, I'll tell you. So if you are trying to build teams, you are not going to get all the Java developers, you are not going to get all the Ruby developers, you are not going to get all the Go developers, and you are not going to get all the JS developers what you want. So if you want to scale, you have to be tolerant to inconsistencies inside the system. But if it has to work together as a system, they have to align. Okay? So what that means, you have to align on the boundaries. The white borders here is actually talking about the boundaries. How do you align? From a technical point of view, if you look at this, REST over HTTP, you are not going to use Java RMR, right? If you are going to use that, you are actually going to create a coupling between these two things. So any of the shaded colors inside here is going to say that is where your autonomy planes, and white borders around that is where you should actually you should actually look for the consistency. So let us look at what that means for teams. These slides, I was in a hurry to prepare these slides and I have left out some of the more useful information. I'll try to cover that up right now. So here I said consistency of principles, and I haven't got any principles over here within this block. So if one of your principles is something like responding to business is our topmost priority, that's your value, that should actually come within each of this. That should actually come within this definition. So this is a one-to-one correspondence. I made it wrong just because people and teams are more dynamic, nothing other than that. But it is exactly the same thing. I've just put some practices over here, the Scrum or Kanban or Scrum Bangalore, whatever you call it. There's a lot about communication channels and how you design your communication channels and communication styles to scale also. The key, I can't get into the details of it. First time when I prepared the slides, it went to 70 slides. So then I had to trim it down to something smaller. But I'll give you the key for all the technically oriented people. Asynchronous messaging is something that scales in architecture. Asynchronous communication styles. Simple thing I'll talk about Slack. In Slack you can create asynchronous communication channels and rely on that, and don't depend on people-to-people communication. That doesn't scale. Right? And also be tolerant to the asynchronous communication style. That's a topic of its own. I cannot cover the details now, but if you want to know further about it, so again, here is autonomy in operation. The internal operation of the team is going to be completely autonomous, right? That is only when you are going to get scale. So this is another view of that. But here I'm going to look at the cohesion and coupling. These are again architectural concepts out there. What I've done here, if I want to summarize this, anyone here has done microservices or SOA? Okay. Anyone is aware of SOA? And I think everybody should be aware of SOA. But anyone has done microservices? Microservices? Yeah, you've done it. Okay. So that is one way. If you want to go further and understand this in detail, you can either chat to me or I'll give you more specific details of what to read on microservices. Otherwise, the topic is going to be microservices. Okay. So one thing to note there is there is a one-to-one correspondence on the technical components, the architectural components on the left-hand side, and the team here. So this is also about how you structure your teams around architecture. That's another way to scale. Right? So complete autonomy within this. So I'll show you that. I'll show you how that's going to give you independent scalability. So let's talk about this hypothetical. This is actually from a small e-com domain, as you can see. Hypothetical case of you want to accommodate, you want to target the low-end market. That's your business that you are going to address. And what you are designing is that in India there are a lot of people who are using phones that are not smart enough. What they have is WhatsApp on their phone. Okay? So the low-end market, you want to capitalize that. So you want to support a system that allows you to make orders through a WhatsApp messaging. This is a hypothetical case. But I'm just trying to show you a mapping of your business needs to a component. Right? So what you need to do is your order system has to now scale. So you can get that order system to scale independently. Similarly, you can scale your team. You know where to make the changes. In a monolith layer application, you don't know where to make the changes. Is it in the data access layer? Is it in the UI layer? Is it in the services layer? You don't know. What you are going to respond is by putting or sharing people all across and creating all interdependencies. So this is one way to do it. Should my time again. Okay, you're good. So next point I had on the slide, there was fault tolerance. Graceful degradation of services. So this is again a concept from microservices, and how that is implemented is using circuit breakers. Anyone from the electrical engineering background here? Any electrical engineers? Yeah? Nobody. Right. So this is just about circuit breakers. Circuit breaker is what? So when there is part of your distribution system that is faulty, some line is grounded, what you do is your two ends are connected like this, you just open like this. Right? So that's all what a circuit breaker is. Why is that important in fault tolerance? Right? If you don't do that, that fault is going to cascade to the other parts of the distribution system and can bring down the cascading effect. And so, have you ever experienced where the lights will go dim and finally it will all die off? Have seen that? So that is what's called cascading. So some part of your system is faulty, and what happens is that load is being distributed to the other generators, eventually to the other generators. They cannot take it, another one is going to trip off, then that load is transferred to another generator, that is going to trip off, and finally everything is going to come down. Okay? So if in situations like that, electrical engineering has responded by creating something called circuit breakers. Microservices copies that very much. So what are we doing there in electrical engineering? From the background, what we are doing is that we are denying services to a part of the system, or I will map that to graceful degradation of services. What does that mean for microservices? I'll give you another example. If you look at the e-com example what I was giving. If there is a customer, so if you remember the previous slide in the customer's part of it, the customer information can be order history, rewards, the customer profile information, everything. And if rewards is one of the microservices, so if rewards is one of the microservices, is it audible? Is it working?
Yes, sorry.
It's audible. Hello? Yeah, it's fine. If rewards is one of the microservices and that is not available, when a customer comes and requests for the customer information, should you give it or not? Should you give it minus of rewards information? Should you give the order history? Should you give the profile information or not? What's an ideal solution? Okay. So microservices does that by circuit breakers. An implementation of that is Histrix. If you want, you can look it up. What it does is a simple concept. The moment it finds sends request to rewards, okay, are you there, give me that details. Okay, no, I'm not there. So this guy is going to make that, okay, you seem to be a faulty system, I'm going to make your circuit, I'm going to break the circuit. Okay? And then it will keep eventually checking when the system is back up. Till then, it is not going to bother. Sometimes it will have a cache copy of that information and it will serve. So how does that translate to teams actually? So leader cut off priority features and empower for local decision making. I'll explain that in a second. This is with one of my real experience stories. What happened is we have our value stream mapped as backlog, then we have a UX ready column, and then that goes to in progress. You can pick up something that is UX ready and put it in progress. What happened is our UX team, actually it was only one person at that point of time, and that person went on leave and fell sick and off for a long period of time. Then what happened is in the backlog we have the cards ordered in priority order, priority 1, priority 2, priority 3, priority 4. We took the card. When we took the card and tried to move it, okay, we cannot move across the value chain because I'm jumping the value stream there. So I put that back. I cannot play this because the UX is not ready. I've set up a process that is actually working against the empowerment of local decision making. Now, card 2, priority 2, but no, I cannot do that because it's not UX ready. I took the third card, which is an API card which didn't need much of user interface or user experience consideration. That's a totally different topic. If you think of developers as the end users, you really need to think of it. But from a component end user perspective, so a system end user perspective, that's not going to happen. So we took that priority 3 card and we started playing that. You know what we did wrong? Okay? So we are playing the wrong priority. Right? There's nothing to be understood there. So if you want to see the higher priority to be served, you have to allow local decision making. We will do the cards with the best possible UX knowledge what we have, but we will still play priority 1 card. You have to jump your value stream, or your value stream is actually causing a hindrance to your delivery to deliver the right value. Okay? So if you empower your local teams to make that decision, that's one way you're going to get around that. This is just an example. So many ways of doing it. Yes.
So when you're talking about fault tolerance,
yes.
you can give an example of circuit breaker.
Yes. For that's isolate failure.
Yeah. So as per my understanding, actually, the fault tolerance you previous slide is business continuity.
Yes.
So I was thinking about like it has to like take
No, that is redundancy.
Reasons.
That is redundancy provides you business
Are you
continuity.
trying to say like we have to isolate the problem completely from the system?
No, that is how the technology solves it. My parallel here was how sometimes you bypass your value stream. That is one example. There are many more examples. If you want, I can talk about but outside this.
You are not able to correlate this.
Okay, anyone else is able to relate to that statement? My reason for asking is either I can clarify that. If there's many more people, I would rather clarify it now. You didn't understand? No, I got that. You got that? Anyone, if there are more people, I'll explain to you that separately if it is not a widespread concern. Anyone else wants that explanation now?
You want to give a good example?
The example what he gave is very spot on. He's talking from an architectural standpoint where in technology how do you solve any particular problem. There are several requests coming through and you want to break that request for further processing. So what you do is there are circuit breakers like logic where you stop that request from being processed, and after some point in time you again want to revisit that decision and then continue processing that logic, right? So that way you are able to take control of your architecture and process the request. Coming to the team.
May I interrupt? I'll definitely address your concern and make sure that you understand it. But so we are holding so many people out there. I'm sorry about it. But I'll address your concern separately. I'll make you understand it. That's my promise. Okay? I'll come back to you, please. So we move on. The next thing what we talk about is session serialization. Before session serialization, you guys know about the problem of session affinity, right? So that's a fault tolerance fault problem that if a process is sticking to a particular a session is sticking to a particular process, if that process dies, your session also dies. So the user is denied an experience and a transaction is denied to the user, more from the technical angle. So what do we do? What do we do to overcome that problem in architecture is we do session serialization. Session serialization is done in two ways. Either you can now say serialization can be stored in a database and everybody else refers to that common session. So even if one process breaks, there is another process which can take on that session and continue processing. There's another way of doing that which is session replication. In this what we do is that session is being written over the wire and the same session is being held by multiple parallel nodes out there. That's what is session serialization. This is that. So what is session here? So we have to understand what is session here. Session is all about context, right? And context, even in human vocabulary, we can think of context. So context is nothing but a set of bindings. Binding is nothing but a set of associations. So that's what a context is. If you map and look at that abstract level, a session is nothing but the knowledge and skills what we store in our brains. So session affinity maps to people dependency. Okay? So if only a particular node can serve a request or a session can be handled only by a particular node, that means you have an affinity session. If a particular problem can only be solved by only one person or a specialist in the team, that means you have affinity to that people, which I call as people dependency. So talking a little bit further about this, which is how do you get around this? And I will also talk about how do you get around these things. Some questions? Again, think of the agile practices out there. How do you replicate knowledge? Okay, pair rotation, okay, and making every person capable of doing pretty much everything. We will be actually touching that topic a little later in the wiring and the economic side of things. But till then. Next thing, so if you want to draw a panel, that's about replication. If you want to draw a panel in architecture, that's about replication. The next thing is about shared state. The shared state is the test what you write, the specifications what you write. Sometimes we say that let's keep your test so that it's not providing any value. Let's write only production code. That kind of arguments are not very uncommon. But doing that right, and all the specifications what you write, including BDD specs, are going to be executable. Executable BDD specs is another way of doing that. That's doing agile right. It's not just about the JUnit or aspect or with Aspect test, so it's also about higher level specification. Even your business specifications are going to be executable. Anyone who does BDD here? Yeah. Right. So you do. Which tools do you use?
We use Spectrum.
Spectrum. Different .NET background. Okay, great. I will see that. So that's another thing. We can all look at it. There are multiple tools out there. If you want to chat about it, how to do it or anything, if you want to do it, if you're interested, we can talk about it certainly. All the languages provide support. Cucumber for Ruby, Cucumber JVM for Java, and JVM is there. Yeah, there are a lot of options. and Aspect also has adaptations to DVB style scenario. But that's it. So that's about shared state. One state that can be commonly referenced, that is going to be externalized, right? Session sequence. Now, if I have to say something in short, get agile right, do it right, follow the practices with conviction, also look at it from the scale angle. Normally, when I'm not sure whether the agile practices have been approached from a scale angle before. So think it from a scale angle, and the reason for doing that is business cares about scaling, and there are certain principles of scaling, and if you don't apply that, any system that cannot scale. So I want to add a little more to that. How do I get it to work? I'll start with a strong product and I'll start with some problems. One of the hindrances to get agile working, the agile practices working. One is lack of conviction ourselves. That's a partial problem, but I don't think that's a problem with the group here. Right? We are not convinced, and that's why we are taking time out of our salary coming over here and you're sitting to this talk and this is also. So that's because you are convinced. I'm not talking about that. How organizations behave, right? So we are a UX team, we are a tech team, we are a business team trying to work together. Actually, we are not doing that. What we are trying to do is that we all think of these independent circles. These circles out there are each other's responsibility. I try to pull it towards, if I'm a tech person, I'm trying to pull it towards me, a UX person is trying to pull towards them, and the business person is trying to pull it towards them. And what happens is it's a drift. The center hall, as you can see, the black center hall there is actually the drift that is created out of this negative forces there. So this is, unfortunately, this is the behavior that is exhibited because of the fragmentation that we create in our culture and how we design our organization. This is a reality, right? This one, I'm not sure if you're coordinating with your own risk, because this is something I just pulled up. But what is more accepted is I'll show you in a moment. This is what I call divergence. Right? Everybody trying to pull in their own directions. And these things here, the overlaps over here is what is typically getting implemented in the systems. And that's also a problem there. And there's an ignore. So I'll be able to explain that better with the next one. So this is a suggested way. This is a suggested way of how we should be behaving, right? But that's more of the reality. This is called convergence. So where you should be focusing on to be successful as a business is only this bright spot overlap of all the three things. So this is about coming together. That is why I call it convergence. This is well understood, and Mike Kerrigan, I guess, so there's an author who has written about it. This is about product management, and you can look it up, so that's fine. However, you have to see this two things. This is how we behave, and these interferences here I'll call them as destructive interferences. Right? So this too is an opportunity to grab this gun. This too is an opportunity to grab this space. This is a negative force in action. And if you see that the result of that is a black hole. This is just a metaphor or analogy what I'm drawing here. But this is a reality. You implement this, and you implement this. But what you really need to be implementing is only the sweet intersection of all the three over here. Look at the area of this. Again, metaphorically I'm saying, this one is far lesser than the collective area of these three overlaps. We are building 80% of the software that is not useful. Right? I can state that. That includes my own teams also. I can prove that any day. So you should be focusing on this. And this needs strong product management. And people with conviction how that works and how this works together. So that is something we are possibly more closer to. The next level is that we have to see, if you have to sell the agile practices and get support from the business, you have to always show that economic capital. This previous one, yeah.
So, what do you suggest in the second case, when you say convergence?
Yeah.
What should be your product backlog? Is that the point of intersection or the viability?
Yeah. So I'm saying this little triangle over here, I'm sorry for the lack of visibility, but you can see this one, and this one converging over here is the inverse of this little black one.
I understand that. I'm saying you have a product backlog for this product. That's one for an agile scalability.
Right.
What would be the contents of your product backlog? Is that the point of intersection or?
Point of intersection. That's your backlog. Because that is what you need. Okay, 20%, 80-20 rule applies there. So most of the time it is people ego. explained, right? So if I'm fragmented, my company is fragmented into tech and UX and product all trying to pull in different directions. Do you actually go in you create the negative force and you actually create a hole here. So because is that my last 10 minutes? Yeah, okay. I'll be happy to have another 2 minutes and then you can have. So is that clear? Shall I move on? I don't have much time. Now if you have to sell this to anyone, if you have to really think of the economics of it. So I look at this one from the cloud. Cloud is one of the massively scalable systems that we have around now, right? So why is cloud a viable and feasible solution? Cloud works on commoditized hardware, commoditized general purpose hardware. To understand that better, I mean, I hope everyone understands, but I'll make it disambiguate that one by saying they are similar in quality and hence they provide substitutability. No matter the make of a commoditized good, you don't really care for the brand who is making it, or you don't really care for you don't expect much quality difference no matter who is doing who is actually making the product. So commoditized hardware is no different, and they are general purpose hardware. I'm not denying that there are points in cloud also where you need specialized hardware, but most of it is going to work on commoditized hardware. So what does that provide us? Substitutability. So that is how actually, so that gives you two advantages. On the viability side, there is a cost advantage, a specialist hardware like a mainframe or a SANS machine. I don't know whether they are there anymore, but they are going to be way too costly than a redundant array of small machines. What could give you the same computing power? Okay? So there's a cost advantage. And it also gives you substitutability. I'm talking about the feasibility aspect of it. When one machine is needed, that can be dynamically spawned, and you can load the software what you want onto that, images, or if you're going for containers like Docker, get your Docker images up, and then you can get a machine in action in sub-seconds. What is that back to themes? Right? So here it is. So here I want to use it in a more positive sense. Here is commoditization of knowledge and skills. So how do you do that? This is not as easy as you could do with machines. How you could do that is by first of all, the people you find should be learning generalists. Don't recruit people like, I'm a Java specialist, I'll only do Java. We all need to learn multiple languages to make the economics of that right? So that is how you make substitutability achievable, right? So lifting up people by continuously improving their knowledge. And for that, the commodity hardware here is mapping to learning generalists. People with that mentality is what we can recruit. Specialization is not, I'm not denying specialization, but I'll say there's an 80-20 rule. You can have specialists in your team, but that specialist should be able to handle the other 80% of your normal product backlog. You can have 80-20. That's my, that's an empirical rule. So 80-20 is standard.
T-shirts personal?
Yeah, that's my empirical rule. Yeah. Personal one. I don't know anyone else follows that. So the next one is the cost advantage. If you have to recruit super specialists, that is going to be very costly, and they are going to create spots. Right? People in architecture will know that single point of failure. And as people latency, if you want to get to the previous slide, that's all about people latency. And again, it helps you with speeding up of instances and loading software, similar to that if you want to look at the dynamic team formation, because you can rely on a set of skills. Everybody knows CI, everybody knows unit testing. You might not run everything under a particular language, but if you know what is mocking, what is classic style of unit testing, you know what is CI, you know what is BDD, all these practices, you are going to easily scale up. It's not going to be as fast as the machines, but sufficiently fast. So this is about the substitutability and the economics of it. So this is the economics of scale, and that applies to teams as well. So my last slide is going to maybe a little more, but last BD slide is going to be this one. How do I sell it to my business, right? All these things what we said is possibly good enough. How do I sell it to business? Okay. So if your business is not already there, you have to shift your thinking from a cost per part accounting model to a throughput accounting model. Let's relate to that. And you are following lead here. I think 30 seconds to explain this. So cost per part accounting is more looking at how do I minimize the cost of the part that I'm operating on. So in their production line, they won't load up a furnace until the furnace is full. The parts are coming up 10, I'll not load it. 100, 1000, okay, now I'll load it. So what you're losing there is and the time lost is actually falling. So you're creating cache themes, so we are not creating actually cache flow if you are calling up. So that's a batch processing metaphor. I don't know how much time to explain it, but if you want to talk about it, we can talk about it. So a throughput accounting, on the other hand, is like, oh, one piece is coming. I'm not saying one piece, but a small batch is coming, and that batch is coming, I'm cutting to the furnace, and I'm putting it through. And at the end of 2 days, I have something that I can say. Your profit margins, your operational costs are going to go a little high, but also you are capitalizing that and you are saving on the interest of money or the inventory what you are holding and all the things through the project line. So that's more of a lean concept, we can talk about that. But if your leadership doesn't get this shift, they will not see that, and there is a lot of waste. There is a lot of waste, perceived waste. So it's not real waste, there's a lot of perceived waste. And if you look at my previous slide of product management, there is very less we need to do. But you should know what we need to do. So if there is very less that you really need to be successful as a business, all these kind of redundancies and duplications are okay. To get that right, you need to have a shift in thinking that is prospect that according to throughput accounting. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate here and giving this opportunity. If you want to stay connected, I don't have a lot of social presence. I just started blogging out there in my LinkedIn, and I have this maybe for if you would like to stay connected, you can do that. Any questions? Others one. Yes.
So speak about these discussion.
Correct.
The goal is to speak all of
Yes.
Can you
You want me to detail it a little bit further than that?
what do you mean with all of them?
Okay, I'll tell you that. So,
A lot of tolerance between
sorry? Yeah, that's not what I'm saying. That's about the first level I'm talking. So, how do you, there are multiple aspects to that. How do you design the channels? Either you can build, let us say we have to separate and distributed teams. They have time zone differences. Right? How do you plan your work such that, so right this moment, I'm here, my counterparts are there in Australia, they're 5 hours ahead of me. And at this point, if I look at maybe they're going wrong, right? How do I have planned my work and backlog in such a way I'm least dependent on their, or not least dependent, I don't want them right now, but that's preemptive. One way of looking at this is that's preemptive. Second way of looking at it is how do you create topic channels? In asynchronous messaging, one of the concepts is a topic channel. Right? You publish and subscribe. The model is called publish and subscribe, where it's not a binding to a particular person. You are not reaching out to somebody's independent email. What you rather do is your organization buys into that communication structure. So if I'm working on the customer, somebody else is working on the order side of the system, all the people who are working on the customer module is going to, customer component is going to subscribe to the customer channel, right? So it is not you, it's not me, it could be any of us who are working as part of this who will be responding. Right? Anybody could pick up that message and respond to that. So would you structure your communication like that? So these are 2 examples, there are much more to that.
something like wiki.
Wiki is one way of doing that. Yeah, wiki is one way of making that possible.
You mentioned about IT scale.
Yes.
Does it mean IT services or IT products?
To be very frank, I didn't think of it. I really think of, I thought of it as it will scale is my actual thing. I do it right, and it will scale. It was not really about IT. Then I just made that.
Because we use
Yeah.
commoditization in most of the time.
Yes.
I think services that over commoditizing and that is why you see
Our specialization, they create horizontals, right? That's my experience though. They create horizontals of Java horizontals, Ruby horizontals, and database horizontals, and they try to pick up. So that is possibly not commoditization, that is specialization.
That is not the result for the business. For the business, you really produce the product.
Yeah. I get you. I get your question. What you're saying is not commoditization, it's the opposite of commoditization. That is specialization.
I'm saying that over commoditizing.
How will they do that? With my experience in services, I cannot relate to that well.
Basically, once you commoditize, we think anybody can deliver a great product.
That's the mental models you are saying, right? People are behaving in a way that when they are commoditized, anybody can work on anything. That's how people are behaving. That's how the management is behaving. I don't think anything. But what they do in reality is they create horizontals, right? Technology horizontals. Anyone from services? There's technology horizontals is a valid concept that you do. I think I'm running out of time here, but if you want to chat about any specific shall we do that? Go ahead. Zain, there's last one question. Can I take it or not?
Take my one from the last.
Go ahead.
Talk about the cost per accounting to profit accounting.
Yes.
Based on your experience,
Yes.
what is the best test case that any organization which is starting for the first time should have, which can give very good result and make this
Right. It's a hard one, this culture. So I know that this is hard answer, right? Because there's no one recipe you can start. You can add salt and that's the limit you need, or add pepper, that's the limit you need. It's not like that. It's culture. It's so it has to start at the leadership level, right? So if your leadership is, what I'm saying is that if your leadership is not willing to change, not everybody is coming from the leadership also is not agile enough. They are not receptive enough to the idea of a throughput accounting. You're in the wrong place. You're trying to change the wrong thing. So it doesn't work. I'll be open to the thing that again leadership is coming from more of a traditional cost per part accounting model. But if they are not willing to change, they don't qualify to be the leadership in an agile organization. So it has to start with leadership and the culture of the organization has to be. So it's a hard one. It's not one thing. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate your time.